I'm talking about different style of towing now.
Oh.
Tugs are totally different,
Okay.
even the diesel tugs, because they're all Voith Schneider now. They don't have a propeller at the back anymore. It goes from the centre in a shaft, like a food mixer. The blades that revolve, and this tug, if it had this system, it could just go round and round. But for this to turn round, it needs all this dock and manoeuvring with its propellers. But if it had this Voith Schneider, it would just get out there and just spin. So it's twice as manoeuvrable and more powerful. You know, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to give us just, if you just mention the names of these two boats, and then give us a basic difference between them, their engine
coal and
styles,
diesel, engine styles, but the same underneath, you know. Do you want to rest her on my knee?
No, we can't. That's
No.
the problem. Yeah, you need to keep an eye on it, Gary.
Okay.
Yep. So it doesn't shift.
Okay. Well, I'd just like to say a little brief talk I'll give you on how tugboating has changed dramatically over the last 30, no more than 30 years, 40 years at the outside. We're here today. There's two examples of your traditional harbour tug. This is the Brocklebank, built in the mid-60s. And astern of us is the coal-fired steam tug Daniel Adamson, built in 1903, but still both did a similar function. They had two towing hooks and towed ships. The vast change now is in economy, because this tug now, the Brocklebank, when she was working on the River Mersey, she would require at least 6 men to run it. Now, the latest type of tug only needs 3, and there's even talk of trying to run them on 2, which I think would be very unsafe. But however, 3 people to run a modern tug, 6 people for this, and the old coal-fired steam tug behind us, she would need 7 men. So you've got economy, the number one. Coal burner, tremendous amount of fuel used, whether she's stationary or on the move. To keep her ready for towing a ship, you've got to have a fireman and a trimmer to burn coal day and night to keep the steam pressure up. This one, the Brocklebank, when she was new in the 60s, she was the bee's knees. She superseded steam because she only needed 6 men instead of 7, and you can switch this off when she's not needed, come back whenever you want, and if you need it for a job towing a ship, so long as you've got compressed air in the bottle, you can throw her engines over and she's more or less ready to work. So it's economy number one. Cleanliness, a lot better conditions on this vessel when she came in 64 than the old coal burner astern of us. Now the thing that's eclipsed both steam and diesel of this type with the propeller at the stern is the modern type of propulsion. It's a German type called Voith Schneider. And the easiest way to talk about it is forget the propeller at the back of the tug or the stern of the tug. It's a shaft going through the centre of the hull and a shaft going down with blades, vertical blades, and it's very much like a food mixer. These blades rotate, and the tug with the modern German propulsion can just spin round, so it's very much more manoeuvrable and 3 times as powerful as the same size tug with a propeller at the stern. She doesn't need anything like this, the area of water to manoeuvre. This tug needs on ropes. She needs quite an area of water to swing herself round, where the modern one with we'll call it the egg whisk in the centre can spin round, no trouble at all, on its own axis, if you like. So in no time, the conventional type of tug like this, no matter how fairly modern they were sold scrap. Most of them went to the Mediterranean. The Greeks and the Italians bought them, and they were obviously able to crew them more cheaply than we could, and they got the last few years out of them handling the cruise ships, and at the end of the day they had the scrap value. Incidentally, today's tug of this size, you would only need 2 to handle today's big container ships, where you would need at least 4 or 5 of these to handle the same size ship. So again, shipping companies aren't going to pay for 4 or 5 tugs when 2 of the most modern type can handle their ship. So one argued against the other. For the owners, they saved on wages, and the shipping companies saved on the number of tugs required to dock the ship or undock it. So overnight, these poor old conventionals, which had many years' life in them, were redundant and found their way to the scrapyards years before their time. The average life used to be 40, 50 years for a steam tug. Some of these diesels, after 20 years, they were on the for sale list because of what had superseded them. So that's it briefly, how we've come in a very short space of time. We've come a full circle, and now you won't see anything like the fleets of tugs on the rivers, the Mersey or the Thames, that you used to see, because they just don't need them anymore. Plus, most modern ships have got what they call the bow thrusters, so they don't need a head tug. They can spin round in their own length. So everything comes down to economy and progress. That's about, I think, everything we could mention about the tugs of today and yesterday.